And we're back like a bad penny, continuing to read in video number 4 of this book on my Kindle Fire. Not sure how well that shows. There is a lot of glare, as you can see. It's reflecting the chair and things in the house on the Kindle Fire, but there are ways to adapt, and the assets in this little latest Kindle book are definitely worth the trade-offs. Now I'll go to the part that we've been reading. This shows the print of where we were currently. And this shows the letter I was getting ready to read. I left off yesterday. Well, actually, it wasn't yesterday. When it was the last reading in the third video. I'll start repeating that sentence. Anyway, how I got here is documented in the Sun and Moon Quartet in my sextet, so I won't labor my history. Instead, I'll show you my latest mailing. The most recent query I've composed, a letter cajoling an agent or editor to request to see a manuscript, is a 3-sentence description of my project. Having written various length and style letters from 1/2 to 2.5 pages, I decided to copy the brevity of the responses I've received, none being more than a short paragraph. Since I've learned that even a 1-pager is not read closely, I'm hoping I might be understood if I stay short with white space or focus on the type. Below is the letter I've been sending to appropriate editors and agents, one of the last documented in the true part of quarter moon dues. Just tap the side of the page with my finger, which is such a great way to change pages, it seems to me. Not that I love any physical books any less. This letter is dated February 9, 1994. Diane Reverend, Editor-in-Chief, Billard Books, 201 East 50th Street, New York, New York, 10022. Dear Miss Reverend, Crossing fiction with non, a maverick ready to market, my sextet raves Ayn Rand, yet lures Shirley MacLaine fans. Satiring New Age, myself, the publishing industry, and other manias, my Ayn Rand astrologer paradox piques conservatives, liberals, and independents, crossing lines and drawing masses. Uplifting naivete gathers a wide commercial audience. Philosophical author intrusion anchors literary longevity. Matching your list. Request more information. Linda J. Shelnutt. You have to realize I don't expect answers to queries, especially sent without SASE, except for the form. We accept only through agents, or it doesn't fit our list. Yet, sending a letter to a specific person, as listed in Jeff Herman's Insider's Guide to Book Editors, Publishers, and Literary Agents, will sometimes get a short form "No" typed to the author's name and signed by that editor. According to Herman, less than 2% of anything sent unsolicited to the industry is even considered. I received a reply to the above letter, not from Miss Reverend, to whom I had directed my query, but a dear author from the editors. I responded the same day again to Diane Reverend, knowing as I addressed the SASE, it would return with another, dear author, it doesn't sound like. Yet I still send these mailings and letters. Why? I've answered myself many ways. You may have heard them all. I can't give up on my work. I believe in it, and I still enjoy sending it. And I still enjoy sending it out and composing letters to the biggies in NYC. February 22nd, 1994, Diane Reverend, Editor-in-Chief, Villard Books, New York, New York. Dear Miss Reverend, thank you for your Dear Author guidelines received this date. Following, we accept up to 50 pages. I am enclosing, we'll start over here. Thank you for your Dear Author guidelines received this date. Following, we accept up to 50 pages. I am enclosing 42 manuscript pages, the first 7 pages in a sextet, along with the query sent to you the 9th, nutshelling the style and thrust of my commercial literary fiction non-satire. Each work could stand alone for a market test before commitment to others in the group. The 3-sentence query is more effective than a longer synopsis in describing, for quick focus, this unusual project, reaching for a wide commercial audience of readers as well as non-readers, especially non-readers of fiction. My background, having marinated for 46 years, is adequate to the task of such an enormous undertaking as the enclosed accomplishment. Request more information, or a complete manuscript, or all 6. Linda G. Shelnutt. I'm getting nervous now, knowing I'm supposed to be brewing laughter, but I can't get it perking. Being a comedy isn't easy, especially on command. Trying too hard never works. I try hard to make good coffee. Buy fresh beans, protect them in the freezer, grind them right before brewing, use an authentic Mr. Coffee O'Brien imitation. It's still no good. So I'll relax and let myself tell my story. If it isn't steamy or spicy enough, I can add later. The joys of computer disks. Maybe one of these days I'll have a real editor or agent who will know where I need more salt, pepper, or paprika. It depends on my mood whether I have condiments on hand. At low ebb times, I have to pull a few shenanigans to heap up my reserves. It's 9:52 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Tuesday, February 23rd. I could go to the post office and check 99 for responses to the 45 queries I have out so far in 94. The empty box is always good for laughs. Several hundred queries remain unanswered from prior years. Or I could go downstairs and make myself an egg sandwich. I work in a small attic room. I butt bounced down the steep stairway a few days ago. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, the sandwich. I make them with Velveeta melted over a fried egg garlic sandwich. I make them with Velveeta melted over a fried egg, garlic salted, on mayo's smeared sourdough. I eat whatever I please with pleasure, believing cholesterol phobia is as off base as jumping green beans. But bouncing down the stairs definitely wasn't funny at the time. Coffee, crumbs left from that egg sandwich, and broken glass from the plate, sprayed, splattered, and spewed everywhere. Landing in a clumsy heap at the bottom of the stairwell, I was christened by the gravity-collected breadcrumbs, coal-black liquid, and glass slivers. I surveyed myself. No cuts, but bruises in abundance, groan, and a disgruntled sense of, I wonder why that had to happen. At least I was in one still mobile piece, relatively. One very sore, disgusted, slowly moving piece. Go ahead. It's okay to laugh. I can laugh now, too. Sometimes heartily. Other times only a short, bubbling giggle. Or a small, subtle smile. Shades and values of laughter. I say if you have to suffer the aches and pains of bruises, you might as well get some benefit out of them, at least later. Right? Chapter 2. Falling from the Clouds. Writing 6 books of Maya and Jennifer shenanigans, inserting wild fantasy whenever reality got heavy or dull, was truly a trip. The pleasure was exquisite, being the original high-spirited Maya and the earthbound Jennifer. I even changed my name to Maya Jen for a while. In 1985, I truly did live that persona and loved it. I'd never tried to be anything beyond myself before. And as I hinted in Chapter 1, I fell so far into my need for the ambience of the rose. I almost believed it. I almost believed it was true for a while. During that phase, I probably innocently and unintentionally scared the hell out of a few people, including a few publishers. Hopefully none of them remember some of my queries in 85 and 86. That experience in itself could make a whole book. Now, writing exclusively as myself in the real world, without fantasy relief, I feel naked, but solid, satisfied, and comfortable. I'll admit I'm fascinating that not having pre-planned it, the last, God I hope, book in this unusual series ends flatly on the ground of the reality of nonfiction. In order to get my true fantasy, being a best-selling author of fiction, launched, I'm having to write a nonfiction book describing the process of the fictional work. Molasses Moon is a sales rep for the sextet from which it blossomed. Who's? Molasses could sell the Maya Gem sextet not only to readers, but what's more important right now, to the right editor or agent. My cousin Jimmy, also a writer of fiction, noted upon reading it that Morning Comes is a marketing program for The Rose in the Pyramid. In fact, each book in this crazy series was written to launch the one before it. In this sense, I have been moving backwards since I started the Gem Project. What's even nuttier, in August of 1984, several months before the morning at Denny's during which the Rose seeded, I had given a lecture, The Easy Way to Cashmere. A matter-undermined presentation of my own techniques to strengthen the mind's reality-altering power. In a promo letter for the lecture series, I promised that a year from the time of the lecture's coming out, I would have a book completed, copywriting my ideas. Promises are sacred to me. I had been surprised that the book, copyrighted and sent out the first time to a publisher in manuscript form in June of 1985, was a work of fiction. I had in the back of my mind when I wrote the promo letter for The Easy Way that the book would be a transcription of a tape recording of the first live presentation of The Easy Way to Cashmere. I've earned the right to use the trite, what webs we weave. I should say, what webs we weave blindly and backwardly. Before producing my Cashmere lecture, I had thought I would one day, possibly years from then, after I had my writing skills seasoned, write novels dramatizing my philosophical leanings. It is my belief that ideas, even in how-to books, are most easily, enjoyably, and solidly soaked up when presented through the life-imitating story format of fiction, rather than the often dry, dull, and dogmatic formula of nonfiction. I admit to being a fiction snob. I can't help it. I like escaping into long stories and characters. After all, I am one, a character, as well as an escape artist, and a long-winded narrator. Novelists are storytellers, I keep telling myself. I know. You like to get at truth quickly and directly. But do you remember it? Do you get it solidly into your daily routines, habits that way? Why do brainwashers prefer to infiltrate novels into a culture rather than prose? Why is the Bible written in parables? Stories enter the back door to the mind, somewhat through the unconscious, where habits are created, deeply rooted, stored, and maintained. Approaching backwards through back doors is fascinating and fun, sometimes effective when nothing else works, or when front doors are locked, blocked, and warded as publishers to unknown writers with unusual works of fiction. Do be careful, though, that you don't trip and break your butt or bump into something. You have to develop eyes in the back of your head, you see, or follow Einstein's relativity. If you travel far enough, you bump into the back of your head. Speaking of backdoor philosophy, then, maybe I should update my 2 latest approaches to editors. It's so nice to be able to merge them from my letters file to this one. Contrary to the process in Moon, I don't have to change my name. Life just gets smoother all the time. Too bad it didn't move as rapidly when you're trying to accomplish something as it does when you're aging. Effort moves with molasses. Old age hits like lightning. Then you move like molasses. I know, I said, I'm old, but I'm really not. At 46, and right now, speaking from the present, I'm 64. Interesting flip on the numbers there. At 46, I just take longer to recharge than I used to. I have a few other problems from collecting history, but I keep so busy, I usually don't remember them. They really disappear if I laugh a lot or keep it light. I don't resist being a comedy. It seems I'm either downright silly or wondering how I died again and how I'll cheat the pain this time. There are people who deal with tragedy gracefully, and I admire them, though I just assume we didn't need examples of gracious suffering. My next letter was addressed to Jacqueline Onassis, editor of Doubleday. This was actually not that long before she became very ill and passed away. Ironically, of course, I didn't know that at the time of writing this letter. So I think I'll pause here in the 3rd part of Reading-Molasses Moon and wish everybody days that they might actually like to repeat.